Hello, my fellow concerned friends. We are outside today because I needed to touch grass. So let's get into it. The United States Constitution. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. The First Amendment states, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press or the right of the people peacefully to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. The Second Amendment states, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. The Third Amendment states, no soldier shall in times of peace be quartered in any house without the consent of the owner, nor in time of war, but in a manner to be prescribed by the law. The Fourth Amendment states, the right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrants shall issue but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. Fifth Amendment states, no person shall be held to answer for a capital or otherwise infamous crime unless on presentment or indictment of a grand jury, except in cases arising in the land or naval forces or in the militia, when in actual service in time of war or public danger, nor shall any person be subject for the same offense to be twice put in jeopardy of life or limb, nor shall be compelled in any criminal case to be a witness against himself, nor be deprived of life, liberty, or poverty without due process of law, nor shall private property be taken for public use without just compensation. The Sixth Amendment states, in all criminal prosecutions, the accused shall enjoy the right to a speedy and public trial by an impartial jury of the state and district wherein the crime shall have been committed, which district shall have been previously ascertained by law, and to be informed of the nature and cause of the accusation, and to be confronted with the witnesses against him, to have compulsory process for obtaining witnesses in his favor, and to have the assistance of counsel for his defense. The Seventh Amendment states, in suits at common law, where the value in controversy shall exceed $20, the right of trial by jury shall be preserved, and no fact tried by a jury shall otherwise be re-examined in any court of the United States than according to the rules of the common law. The Eighth Amendment states, excessive bail should not be The Eighth Amendment states, excessive bail shall not be required, nor excessive fines imposed, nor cruel and unusual punishments inflicted. Ninth Amendment states, the enumeration in the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people. The 10th Amendment states, the powers not delegated to the United States by Congress, The 10th Amendment states, the powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved to the states respectively or to the people. The 11th Amendment states, the judicial power of the United States shall not be construed to extend to any suit in law or equity, commenced or prosecuted against one of the United States by citizens of another state or by citizens or subjects of any foreign state. The 12th Amendment states, the electors shall meet in their respective states and vote by ballot for president and vice president, one of whom at least shall not be an inhabitant of the same state with themselves. They shall name in their ballots the person voted for as president, and in distinct ballots the person voted for as vice president, and they shall make distinct lists of all persons voted for as president and of all persons voted for as vice president, and of the number of votes for each, which list they shall sign and certify and transmit sealed to the seat of the government of the United States, directed to the President of the Senate. The President of the Senate shall, in the presence of the Senate and House of Representatives, open all certificates, and the votes shall then be counted. The person having the greatest number of votes for president shall be the president. If such number be a majority of the whole number of electors appointed, and if no person have such majority, then from the person having the highest numbers not exceeding 3 on the list of these voted for as president, the House of Representatives shall choose immediately by ballot the president. But in choosing the president, the votes shall be taken by states, the representation from each state having 1 vote. A quorum for this purpose shall consist of a member or members from 2/3 of the state, and a majority of all of the states shall be necessary to a choice. And if the House of Representatives shall not choose a president whenever the right of choice shall devolve upon them, before the 4th day of March next following, then the vice president shall act as president, as in case of death or other constitutional disability of the president. The person having the greatest number of votes as vice president shall be the vice president. If such number be a majority of the whole number of electors appointed, and if no person have a majority, then from the 2 highest numbers on the list, the Senate shall choose the vice president. A quorum for the purpose shall consist of 2/3 of the whole numbers of senators, and a majority of the whole number shall be necessary to a choice. But no person constitutionally ineligible to the office of president shall be eligible to that of vice president of the United States. The 13th Amendment states in Section 1, neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for crime whereof the party shall have been duly convicted, shall exist within the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction. Section 2 states, Congress shall have power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation. The 14th Amendment states in Section 1, all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. No state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor deny to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws. Section 2 states, representatives shall be appointed among the several states according to the respective numbers, counting the whole number of persons in each state, excluding Native Americans not taxed, but when the right to vote at any election for the choice of electors for president and vice president of the United States, representatives in Congress, and the executive and judicial officers of state or members of the legislature thereof is denied to any of the male inhabitants of such state being 21 years of age and citizens of the United States, or in any way abridged except for the participation in rebellion or other crime. The basis of representation therein shall be reduced in the proportion which the number of such male citizens shall bear the whole number of male citizens 21 years of age in such state. Section 3 states, no person shall be a senator or a representative in Congress or elector of president and vice president or hold any office, civil or military, under the United States or under any state who, having previously taken an oath as a member of Congress or as an officer of the United States or as a member of any state legislature or as an executive or judicial officer of any state to support the Constitution of the United States, shall have engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the same or given aid or comfort to the enemies thereof. But Congress may, by a vote of 2/3 of each house, remove such disability. Section 4. The validity of the public debt of the United States authorized by law, including debts incurred for payment of pensions and bounties for services in suppressing insurrection or rebellion, shall not be questioned. But neither the United States nor any state shall assume or pay any debt or obligation incurred in aid of insurrection or rebellion against the United States, or any claim for the loss or emancipation of any slave, but all such debts, obligations, and claims shall be held illegal and void. Section 5 states, the Congress shall have power to enforce by appropriate legislation the provisions of this article. The 15th Amendment states in Section 1, the right of citizens of the United States to vote shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state on account of race, color, or previous condition of servitude. Section 2 states that Congress shall have the power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation. The 16th Amendment states the Congress shall have power to lay and collect taxes on incomes from whatever source derived without apportionment among the several states and without regard to any census or enumeration. The 17th Amendment states The Senate of the United States shall be composed of 2 senators from each state, elected by the people thereof, for 6 years, and each senator shall have 1 vote. The electors in each state shall have the qualifications requisite for electors of the most numerous branch of the state legislatures. When vacancies happen in the representation of any state in the Senate, the executive authority of such state shall issue rights of election to fill such vacancies, provided that the legislature of any state may empower the executive thereof to make temporary appointments until the people fill the vacancies by election as the legislature may direct. This amendment shall not be so construed as to affect the election of term of any senator chosen before it becomes valid as part of the Constitution. The 18th Amendment states in Section 1, after 1 year from the ratification of this article, the manufacture, sale, or transportation of intoxicating liquors within, the importation thereof into, or the exportation thereof from the United States and all territories subject to the jurisdiction thereof for beverage purposes is hereby prohibited. Section 2 states the Congress and the several states shall have concurrent power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation. Section 3 states this article shall be inoperative unless it shall have been ratified as an amendment to the Constitution by the legislatures of the several states as provided in the Constitution within 7 years from the date of the submission hereof to the states by the Congress. The 19th Amendment states, the right of citizens of the United States to vote shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state on account of sex. Congress shall have power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation. The 20th Amendment states in Section 1, the terms of the President and Vice President shall end at noon on the 20th day of January, and the terms of senators and representations at noon on the 3rd day of January of the years in which such terms would have ended if this article had not been ratified, and the terms of their successors shall then begin. Section 2 states, the Congress shall assemble at least once in every year, and such meetings shall begin at noon on the 3rd day of January, unless they shall by law be appointed a different day. Section 3 states, if at the time fixed for the beginning of the term of the president-elect shall have died, the vice president-elect shall become president. If a president shall not have been chosen before that time fixed for the beginning of his term, or if the president-elect shall have failed to qualify, then the vice president-elect shall act as president until a president shall have qualified. And the Congress may, by law, provide for the case wherein neither a president-elect nor a vice president-elect shall have qualified, declaring who shall then act as president, or the manner in which one who to act shall be selected, and such person shall act accordingly until a president or vice president shall have qualified. Section 4 states, the Congress may by law provide for the case of the death of any of the persons from whom the House of Representatives may choose a president whenever the right of choice shall have devolved upon them, and for the case of death of any persons from whom the Senate may choose a vice president whenever the right of choice shall have devolved upon them. Section 5 states, Section 1 and 2 shall take effect on the 15th day of October following the ratification of this article. Section 6 states, this article shall be inoperative unless it shall have been ratified as an amendment to the Constitution by the legislatures of 3/4 of the several states within 7 years from the date of its submission. The 21st Amendment states in Section 1, the 18th article of amendment to the Constitution of the United States is hereby repealed. Section 2 states the transportation or importation into any state, territory, or possession of the United States for delivery, use of intoxicating liquors in violation of the laws thereof is hereby prohibited. Section 3 states this article shall be inoperative unless it shall have been ratified as an amendment to the Constitution by conventions in the several states as provided in the Constitution within 7 years from the date of submission hereof to the United States by the Congress. The 22nd Amendment states in Section 1, no person shall be elected to the office of the President more than twice, and no person who has held the office of President or acted as President for more than 2 years of a term to which some other person was elected president shall be elected to the office of the president more than once. But this article shall not apply to any person holding the office of president when this article was proposed by the Congress, and shall not prevent any person who may be holding office as president or acting as president during this term within this article becomes operative from holding the office of president or acting as president during the remainder of such term. Section 2 states, this article shall be inoperative unless it shall have been ratified as an amendment to the Constitution by the legislatures of 3/4 of the state within 7 years from the date of its submission to the United States Congress. The 23rd Amendment states in Section 1, The district constituting the seat of government of the United States shall appoint in such manner as Congress may direct a number of electors of president and vice president equal to the whole number of senators and representatives in Congress to which the district would be entitled if it were a state, but in no event more than the least populous state. They shall be in addition to those appointed by the states, but they shall be considered for the purposes of the election of president and vice president to be electors appointed by a state. And they shall meet in the district and perform such duties as provided by the 12th article of amendment. Section 2 states, the Congress shall have power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation. The 24th Amendment states in Section 1, the right of citizens of the United States to vote in any primary or other election for president or vice president, for electors for vice president, or for senator or representatives in Congress shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or any state by reason of failure to pay poll tax or other tax. Section 2 states, the Congress shall have power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation. The 25th Amendment states in Section 1, in case of the removal of the president from office or of his death or resignation, the vice president shall become president. Section 2 states, whenever there is a vacancy in the office of the vice president, the president shall nominate a vice president who shall take office upon confirmation by a majority vote of both House and Congress. Section 3 states, whenever the president transmits to the presidents pro tempore of the Senate and the Speaker of the House of Representatives his written declaration that he is unable to discharge the powers and duties of his office, and until he transmits to them a written declaration to the contrary, such powers and duties shall be discharged by the Vice President as acting President. Section 4 states, whenever the Vice President and a majority of either the principal officers of the executive departments or of such other body as Congress may by law provide, transmit to the President pro tempore of the Senate of the Speaker of the House of Representatives their written declaration that the President is unable to discharge the powers and duties of his office, the Vice President shall immediately assume the powers and duties of the office as acting president. Thereafter, when the president transmits to the president pro tempore of the Senate and the Speaker of the House of Representatives his written declaration that no inability exists, he shall resume the powers and duties of his office unless the vice president and a majority of either the principal officers of the executive department or of such other body as Congress may by law provide transmit within 4 days to the president pro tempore of the Senate and the Speaker of the House of Representatives their written declaration that the president is unable to discharge the powers and duties of his office. Thereupon, Congress shall decide the issue, assembling within 48 hours for the purpose, if not in session. If the Congress within 21 days after receipt of the latter written declaration, or if Congress is not in session within 21 days after Congress is required to assemble, determines by 2/3 vote of both House that the president is unable to discharge the powers and duties of his office, the vice president shall continue to discharge the same act as the same acting president. Otherwise, the president shall resume the powers and duties of his office. The 26th Amendment states in Section 1, the right of citizens of the United States who are 18 years of age or older to vote shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state on account of age. Section 2 states, the Congress shall have power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation. The 27th Amendment states, no law varying the compensation for the services of the senators and representatives shall take effect until an election of representatives shall have intervened. Read the Constitution. Don't just listen to me poorly read it to you. Actually read it. Pull up the Constitution and re-listen to this video and let it sink in. Because when we look around in America today, I am not seeing the Constitution being protected and revered and held as tightly as I grew up being told it should be. And that is terrifying. What is happening across this nation is terrifying. What is happening to immigrants is terrifying. What is happening to undocumented foster children right now is terrifying. What is happening in Gaza right now that we as a nation are supporting the continuation of is terrifying. And we have to do something about it. I am, yes, an advocate for children, and I am an advocate for spotting, sexual abuse and all of these other things, whatever. But these children are way heavy on my mind right now, that are being ripped from foster homes, that are being ripped away from opportunities to have less trauma than they have already experienced simply because they didn't do it the right way. Meanwhile, we have a felon in office. After reading the Constitution, can somebody explain to me how that even happened? I'm sorry about this video, that it's not my normal content, but I'm not sorry. I'm upset that I had to make this video. I'm upset at where this country is, and I'm upset that it's gone this far, and I'm upset that it feels like there's nothing that we can do about it besides continue to be loud and talk about it and protest. So if you weren't aware, there is a nationwide protest happening this Saturday, the 14th, Flag Day. And I hope that you can go to nokings.org and find a protest near you and try to be there. This is historical, and I can't not say anything about it. So here's the midweek video, and I'm sorry that it was so disturbing, but we are literally living in dystopia right now. This is dystopian. This is dystopian, and I need to use my platform to help others realize that it's okay if you feel like it's really dystopian too, because it is dystopian, but we have to, in this time, put our feet down and try to do something. Even if the only thing you can do is share videos and make posts and share. But if you can protest, if you can physically go to DC, if you can go like wherever, go, show up in person and show them with our American flags that this is not the country that the Constitution was built for. And this is not supporting the Constitution, the thing that built what we know as America today, which, mind you, also is stolen land.